Hello everyone. So today I'm going to share the story about how I met my Chinese boyfriend as an American. And actually I feel super cringe and shy to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it for you guys. So please give this video lots of love and support so that I don't feel so awkward. Warning. This is probably going to be one of the wildest love stories you've ever heard. Spoiler alert, involves cringy high school students, online dating shenanigans, and long distance pain. So if you're into that, stay tuned. So first of all, I'm mixed race and I grew up in LA, California. My uncle is from Guangdong province, literally. I grew up speaking Korean and even used to live in Korea, so I was always exposed to lots of different cultures and languages since a young age, which also made me super interested in other cultures and languages, which is why at the age of 16, I got a new hobby: learning Mandarin Chinese. I wasn't really good at it though. Another bit of background information about me is, well, most people think American high school looks like this, but mine looked more like this. Yeah, I got bullied a lot and I just couldn't really be myself in public. But that's okay because I used the power of the internet to make online friends. It was really cool. Usually I would just make friends with like girls who had similar hobbies to me, like art or anime. And then I had a brilliant idea. Why not combine making friends online and learning Chinese, these two hobbies together, into making Chinese friends online? So at the age of 17, I downloaded lots of language learning apps and translators, and basically I just used translators to talk to Chinese people online and would write down new Chinese words to study. Let's be real. It was 2020. Most people were bored at home and alone. Me and my boyfriend at that time were both 17 years old high school students, and both of our classes had been placed online. So we also fell into that category of people who were bored and alone at home. So what do bored and lonely people do? They binge watch anime. So I binge watched a lot of anime and was posting about it all the time online, and this guy had to have the same anime taste as me. So he messaged me about anime. He slid in my DMs, guys. And we just had a really normal, friendly conversation talking about our favorite animes and episodes. And then we talked about why he's learning English, why I'm learning Chinese. And then we introduced ourselves to each other, and we introduced our hometown. Me, California, him, Hunan. It was just a proper conversation, but I didn't really think much about it. But the next day, he messaged me again. And then the next day, he messaged me again. And then again, and then again, and again, and again, and again, and again. And he just kept finding any reason to message me. But then it just became part of our daily routine that we got to talk to each other. We became really good friends. What did we talk about? Well, we were just high school students, so we mainly just talked about normal, cringy, stupid high school stuff like homework, teachers, venting about life. He did come in clutch helping me with my math homework many times though. And you know what happens when a girl and guy talk for a long time, alone, and have similar interests. And then you start to feel shy to talk to that person, but it's like the type of shy that's addicting. And I started to question the meaning behind every message that he sent, like, does he like me? I just told myself, don't be delusional. We are just online friends from two really far away countries. We are even using translators to communicate with each other. This will never be able to make a real relationship, right? Right? There's even no point to have a crush like this. I should just forget about it. So I just thought it was super delusional to even think about having a relationship like this. So I dare not to mention anything, even though I did feel some romantic tension or something special for him, but he did not care at all. He was like, culture difference doesn't exist. Language barrier, use translators and more study. Different countries and visa policies, that's not a big deal at all. A little bit of hindsight, visas are a really big struggle and a really big deal and super expensive and stressful. So one day we were just talking and he brought up the idea that maybe one day if we met in real life, if we could potentially, possibly, maybe be something more than friends. And I just thought he seemed really genuine and trustworthy. Talking to him made me really happy and comfortable, and I could really imagine a future where we got to meet up and it would be super cute and stuff. So I said, yeah, go charge. I was at home anyways with no one to stop me, so why not just give it a try? We were just high school students, not the most clear thinking, not the most real life experienced. So like, this is cringe. Where do we even start with this so-called relationship? Well, we said, what about we just be special friends? And then when we meet each other in real life, we can see if we are actually compatible, and then we can make it official at that time. And I said, okay, sure. But this special friends thing only lasted like a few days. Later, he just said, no, I cannot wait. I want to call you my girlfriend right now. And then, ever since then, we just started calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend. And yeah, it was just like that. We just kept texting, calling, video calling each other every day, sharing our daily life. After a while, though, things started to get more complicated as we started to enter into adulthood. He had turned 18 and his high school opened up again. So now he was living in the dorms and going to classes, and all this really limits how much time you can be on your phone. Before, it was like we could text each other and call each other all day, every day, give each other so much company. But now he only had a really short break time, and because we had a 16-hour time difference, his break was either super early in the morning or super late at night for me. But I missed him so much that I would set an alarm and wake up every day just to talk to him. He also started to prepare for one of the hardest things a Chinese person goes through: 高考. So he became more stressed and busy with studying, and even though I missed him, I tried not to mention how sad I was because I didn't want my feelings to add extra stress to him. It was really hard to miss him at that time, but I respect the grind. I understood that this was a really important thing. As a way to include me more in his life though, during his English class, he'd get a journal and then write to me letters every day about how his day was in English. And then during his break time, he would send me it so that I could feel more connected to him and reread his letter throughout the day. And he filled up a whole notebook with letters for me. And he even chose a notebook with a really cute cat cover. And then finally he took Gaokao, and I'm super proud of him because he worked so hard, and yay! Gaokao got conquered, defeated. Our love survived. To congratulate him, I sent him a package. Actually, mailing a package to China is really expensive, but I saved up all my money and made a really thoughtful package for him. I included things like my favorite snacks, some hand-drawn pictures I made, and my jacket. This was one step closer to feeling like we were more connected in real life too. We always talked about after Gaokao being able to meet up during summer break. And so Gaokao ended, he got his freedom, but we were still not able to meet like we had thought. And this realization hit both of us really hard. It was 2022. China still had its borders closed. China was still protecting its country from the pandemic. I couldn't enter, he couldn't leave, and that meant there was no way for us to see each other, even though we had been daydreaming about it, we had been fighting for it, we had been looking forward, planning, saving money. No. Later, other parts of the world started opening up, like Korea opened up a little bit, and I was able to move back to Korea to keep going to school there, and it just hurt so much because we had all this freedom, and I was literally in Korea, literally so close to him, but we just couldn't meet. I was so sad, I just cried for so many days. My morning routine was just like I would wake up and I would immediately check my phone to see if there's any notifications about traveling to China, and then there would be no notifications. So then I would check the cases in China, how many cases are there, and when the case number would go down, I would get super happy and super excited and then start planning and daydreaming it again. And then when the cases would go higher, I would get like super sad and depressed. And then our semester started and we got busy with uni, and 2023 came and we had officially been dating online for 3 years without meeting each other. To take my mind off of it, I got a part-time job because I was thinking, well, if we did meet, what's one thing that we need? Money, right? So let me start saving up money so it's like I'm being productive for our future together. And this just kind of helped to keep me busy and take my mind off of things. And then our semester passed, and then summer of 2023 was approaching. And guess what? China finally opened the borders. But there was another problem. His university required him to do community service during the whole summer break, and there was no way to get out of it or skip it. But he was like, fluff that school, I don't care about the consequences, I need to see my girlfriend immediately. And so we were thinking, should he come to America, should I come to China? Well, we found out that getting an American visa is extremely hard, and getting a Chinese travel visa is not that difficult. So then I started doing tons of research on how to get a visa. One of the things I needed was an invitation letter from a Chinese citizen. So yeah, he wrote a whole letter for me inviting me to China, and I showed that to the visa officers and they were like, cool. And I got my visa done all quick and smoothly. But what about my parents? My parents just saw it as I'm going to a foreign country all by myself, their little small daughter, to meet a guy who she's only known online? That's ridiculous, right? Especially with so many bad people and catfishes in the world. They were just worried for me. They were not really down, but my boyfriend went crazy and he worked really hard to try to convince them. First of all, he said that he would pay for the whole trip. It was his treat for me to come to China. Secondly, he invited my brother to come with me as kind of like a bodyguard, and he would pay for my brother as well. Third is that he planned a really amazing trip to China. He wanted to show the best of China, so he planned to take me to some really big cities and tourist attractions such as Shanghai Disney, Guilin, Guangzhou, Nanjing, Xi'an, etc. Fourth is that he put all this itinerary and information about China and reasons why he loves me and all this stuff together into a really big detailed PPT, and one day he video called my parents and presented it to them. After my parents saw his PPT, they could see how much he loved me and how hard he was trying, so they agreed. And it was like a dream come true. I was finally going to China and going to meet my boyfriend of 3 years. I flew to Japan and got a layover, and then a typhoon hit. And our flight was canceled. No, how much is the world gonna put me through? I just wanna meet him. It's okay, the typhoon passed, and then we were on the next plane, and the plan was back on track. So we landed in Guangzhou, and our first destination was Guangzhou, which is why Guangzhou will always have a really special place in my heart. And you're probably imagining the TV shows where the couples run through the airport and hug each other and do a spin, and then it's really romantic and touching. That's not what happened with me because I am super shy and super awkward. When I got out of the customs, I saw him standing over there with flowers and presents, and I just freaked out. It was like, oh my gosh, this is suddenly real. I was like closing my eyes and covering my ears, and I just wanted to disappear. My brother was the one who had to actually break the ice. My boyfriend could see that I was uncomfortable, so he just gave me like a side hug. And then my brother was like, why don't you guys just take a picture together? And so I took a picture like, and my face was so red. I mean, you gotta understand me. It was my first time ever to even hold hands with a guy, so I was super nervous. We progressed slowly, and he even slept on the floor of my hotel room because he didn't want to make me uncomfortable too fast or anything like that. I was super impressed about how considerate he was of me. He's like a really big gentleman. Any problem that occurred, he would say, don't worry about it, I will solve it. So basically, I just gotta sit there caring about nothing, like la la la. I was not used to Chinese heat, so he bought lots of things to cool me down, and he even bought a manual fan and was like fanning me all the time when I felt hot. He even read online about how foreigners who have lighter eye colors are more sensitive to sunlight, so he was really scared that my eyes would get hurt, and he bought glasses and just every little detail. He really cared about it. He carried all my luggage, always complimented me. And then 1 month of traveling around China, my brother went home, and we decided that I would stay for 1 more month and stay at his house in Hunan. And his house is in a really small town in Hunan, so there was no high-speed rail connecting to his house. So his mom came to pick us up, and we drove the National Way back to his house. But we drove the National Way like at 2 in the morning, and it was so dark. There was no streetlights, and there were so many abandoned houses, and I was thinking, is this the time I get kidnapped? But it was all okay because we pulled up to his house, and it was really nice and cozy. And we just had a really slow, peaceful summer together, watching movies, drinking milk tea, taking strolls, chatting. He showed me around his hometown. I met his whole family, and I did bring gifts for his family too. And well, the months passed way too fast. My return flight to America was coming. Our school semesters were gonna start soon. And my visa was gonna expire, so it was time for us to get separated again. This was really hard because we had just spent the last 2 months having like one of the best times of our lives, loved each other so much and had so much fun together. Our dreams literally came true, and now we just have to say goodbye and go back to long distance again. How can you even say goodbye after all that? So the last night together was super hard. We basically, even though we were sleepy, but we forced ourselves to stay awake all night to enjoy the last minutes together, and it was like super emo time. And you know, when you're emo and it's late at night, you'll just talk about crazy stuff. So we started talking about the future and how we must get married so that we can never get separated again. We even said that we'll get married tomorrow if we can, so that we can stay together. But actually that would not work out because we needed paperwork, and paperwork takes time to process it. So, and then he dropped me off at the airport. We said goodbye. His eyes were watery. I could see that his eyes were watery, but he was trying to hold it back. And when I got through security check and was at my gate, I just low-key had like a panic attack. I was like crying, almost throwing up. Long distance relationships are truly not easy. The pain is real. And yeah, I think I'm gonna stop that video here because I don't want it to be too long, but I hope this was a good introduction for how me and my boyfriend met each other. I hope if you're in a long distance relationship right now that this video can give you some comfort, and I hope this can motivate some people. If you truly love that person, go after it. We went through so many obstacles, being young high schoolers with no freedom, money, visas, culture difference, language barrier, borders being closed, quarantine, gaokao, and so much more. But it all worked out in the end, and right now I'm living with him in Hunan. If you guys are interested in a part 2, let me know and I can talk about how I moved to China long term and what happened with our universities and how our life is now living together in Hunan. What once started as a really seemingly insignificant conversation when we were 17 in quarantine turned into 3 years of online dating, and now hopefully so many forever years of happiness and love. Dreams do come true. Love is so strong. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.